Hi guys, and welcome to another video. So, of course, yesterday some massive news broke, some news that we kind of expected given the speculation over the last sort of 48 hours or so. But it was confirmed by the man himself and by the club. Jermain Defoe has officially retired from football with immediate effect, prompting pretty huge reactions from the fan base. Some positive, some negative, some annoyed, some angered, some understanding. There's a lot of angles to cover within this video, and I kind of understand almost every angle that some people have taken up in terms of either being angry or they've got an opinion on something else that may have sort of paved the way for Jermain Defoe's signing in the first place, i.e. Lee Johnson being sacked, people saying he's money grabbing, some saying he deserves the retirement, some saying he wasn't sharp anyway. There's a lot of angles to cover here, and I'm going to cover every single one. And at the end of the day, I do want to pay my respects to Jermain Defoe, because regardless, I think he's an absolute class act. He deserves a retirement anyway. But does that make him completely immune from criticism? Not necessarily, and that's something I will get into. But firstly, I do want to read his statement. Yesterday, he posted, I think it was at 10:30 yesterday morning, he posted confirming his retirement. So Jermain Defoe did say, after 22 years in the game, I've decided to retire from professional football. It's been a really tough decision and one I've discussed with my family and those closest to me. I made my professional debut at 17 years old in 1999, and I feel now is the right time to bow out. I've had an incredible journey and have met some amazing people in the game. Football will always remain in my blood, and it gives me great pride and satisfaction to look back on the blessed career that I've had. I now look forward to spending some quality time with my friends and family before moving forward on this next chapter in my career. Thank you to all the fans from each club I've played for. The love I have received and endured throughout my career will never be forgotten, and I will always have a special bond with you all. Thank you also to my amazing teammates, coaches and staff for playing such an integral part in my career. Lastly, I want to say thank you to my mum. You gave me a ball at 2 years old and you made me believe my dream could happen. All that I am is because of you, and I owe everything to you and God. So that is Jermain Defoe's statement, his retirement statement, his bowing out from football with immediate effect. So I will get onto my sort of point of views and my opinions a little bit later on in the video, but I want to just kind of address each angle that certain people have had. Of course, everyone has their own opinions, and like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I understand most, or at least even if I disagree with some of them, I can understand where they're coming from, if that makes sense. I'm not just gonna, sort of shy away from everyone's opinion apart from my own, but a couple of them I definitely just want to just sort of shoot down immediately. Firstly, a handful of Sunderland fans have said, oh well, thanks for coming for your last payday, or he just wanted one big payday before he went out. For me, that is not only incredibly disrespectful to the man he is, that's just utter ludicrous. I mean, if you think the amount of money that man has made throughout his career, for him to come to Sunderland in League One, he will probably make more doing punditry for Sky Sports, which is probably what he might do next, you never know. But he might make more money doing a bit of punditry for Sky Sports than coming to Sunderland in League One for a few months. Do you know what I mean? And the man that is given so much, not only just the city of Sunderland, but the club in itself, when he was with us in his original stint, we know what kind of man he is, the amazing bond and relationship we saw with Bradley Lowry, we saw that form, we saw that blossom, and everything he's about. We know his personality, he loves the club. So to accuse him now, after 7 games in League One, to just throw all that in the bin to say he's come for the last payday, I'm sorry, but that is utter bollocks. I'm going to completely dismiss that immediately. Jermain Defoe is not the man to come for one final payday. I will come on to my opinions again later on, as I keep on saying, and I'm going to address some other issues. But again, another one which is absolutely insane for me. Okay, I get it that some people maybe didn't want Lee Johnson to leave. That's fine. If you're a fan of Lee Johnson, whatever, I don't agree with it. I think he was absolutely deserved of his sacking, 100% in my opinion. But now, all of a sudden, now Jermain Defoe decides to retire, a lot of people on social media, rather than actually just acknowledging the retirement of Defoe, it's almost as if frigging Sir Alex Ferguson was sacked back at the end of January. Do you know what I mean? How the hell this has come about, it is beyond me. So many people assuming, and even journalists, some of them who are absolutely blatantly not in the know, I'm not saying I am, but it's just bollocks, assuming that almost the sole reason for Lee Johnson's sacking was to try and squeeze over the line the signing of Jermain Defoe. Absolute rubbish. Lee Johnson got sacked for the countless batterings off the likes of Chef Wednesday, Lincoln, Pompey all in one season. The 6-0 battering from Bolton just 2 days before his sacking. Not to mention the constant inconsistencies, and he completely lived up to the name of Streaky Lee. The season prior, with 9 games left of the season, we had a game in hand, 2 points off the top, or 2 points off the top 2, and we won 1 from 9. The catastrophic downfall that was down season, sorry, that was down, Jesus Christ, that was last season. The catastrophic downfall that was last season, it wasn't because of any of that, it was because Jermain Defoe signed. Rubbish. Utter rubbish. Lee Johnson was the master of his own downfall. But this video isn't about him. This is me paying my respects to Jermain Defoe. Now, some other people have said, is it a PR stunt? It was just a big PR stunt. I think, yes, it was to an extent. Of course it is. Every big name signing is a PR stunt. Of course, a completely different scale, a completely different grand scale. Cristiano Ronaldo. He left Manchester United, he come back at his age. And yes, things haven't gone exactly that amazingly well for Ronaldo. He's doing his bit. But it's a PR stunt in itself because you're going to generate funds, and why wouldn't you do it? Even if Ronaldo did do awful, imagine Ronaldo did absolutely awful for Manchester United, they would still make millions upon billions on shirt sales and tickets just to go and watch him. The same with Jermain Defoe. It's not like we just signed Jermain Defoe solely on the fact we'd make a bit of money. A lot of us, including myself, a good 90% of Southern fans thought he might have something to offer in League One. Granted, he hadn't played for a little bit, but it was only the season before he was playing for Rangers and he was banging in goals for fun. So it was a risk that was absolutely worth taking. It was generate funds for the club. The morale of the supporters was immediately, it was risen immediately, given we just got battered 6-0 from Bolton. I understand this signing 100%. It just hasn't worked out. It works like that. Half the signings teams do make, they don't necessarily work out, particularly strikers. So, for someone to say, it's just a PR stunt. Yeah, you wouldn't be saying that if it went well. You wouldn't be saying that if it went well. And it could have very easily gone that way. It could have gone well, but it hasn't. Now, a bit more towards my opinion. Am I annoyed, and this is the opinion of a lot of people, am I annoyed at the fact that Jermain Defoe hasn't honoured the remainder of his contract? Yes, I am. Because myself, from my own point of view, I think Jermain Defoe, as games went on, despite him not scoring any goals, and despite it being a little bit of a rocky start for him, I think he was looking progressively sharper as games went on. Particularly when he came on in the last game, I thought he looked very sharp. He's looking better, and I do believe that he absolutely could have contributed something from now until the end of the season. Again, despite his rocky start. So, and I think he did look sharp enough to be able to contribute. So for him to hang up his boots now, it is annoying because it leaves us in the shit. It does. You've got Broadhead, he's very hit and miss. We don't know whether he's going to come back or when he's going to come back, if he'll be fit enough. Ross Stewart, if he gets injured, we now have no strikers. 0 strikers, and that's it. So Defoe has left us in the shit in that sense. But he's also said in his interviews, he did interviews with Sky Sports and other media outlets as well. He was saying, to the sort of the fans' eye, you might think he looks sharp, but to himself, in training, even in training, he could feel that he was sort of a yard off the pace, and he could feel it, and he wasn't giving what he thought he could be. He thought he'd be able to contribute more, but he physically can't. Type thing. Do you know what I mean? And that must be very frustrating for him. We've seen it before. Like for me myself, of course, a completely different thing. But when I stopped playing football when I was younger, and then went back to Sunday League a couple of years later, I felt way off the pace, and I was thinking like, God, it's so frustrating that I can't, burn that extra yard that I could have done a couple of years ago. Do you know what I mean? Or I can't reach that ball, or my touch has gone shit when usually I bring that out of the air brilliantly. Do you know what I mean? But those little things, it can be very, very frustrating. Again, it's a completely different level, I get that. But I can understand his frustration. When we've seen throughout his glittering career, he's been able to bag goals, and he'd run through 90 minutes of a game, and he just can't, he feels like he can't contribute that now. And I can understand that, and he might think, and he has said again in interviews, that he might be standing in the way of the youth, purely because of his name. Do you know what I mean? And he doesn't want to be that person either, which again, I get. But to sign, and the whole thing that was around it, the whole one last dance, Jermain Defoe, the whole PR stuff, as we mentioned, that we went along with it, to then only play 7 games with no goals and then retire, it is embarrassing. It's embarrassed the club. It's embarrassing for the fans as well, who were so buzzing for him to come back. For me, I love Jermain Defoe. I love Jermain Defoe. I love what he's about. I love his personality. But at the same time, for me, there is a sense that I believe that I think he wanted to kind of go out, not necessarily on a high, because he has come back, played 7 games and scored none. So it's not necessarily on a high, but I don't think he wanted to be remembered for playing the remainder of the season in League One and couldn't bag a goal to save his life. So I think he wanted to cut that short, You know, because every other season he's played, he's bagged goal after goal after goal after goal, bagfuls of goals. We know he has. So I think he wanted to leave it a note where it isn't really tarnished in the fact that, or in the sense that we might not go up, or he's going to get 10 minutes here and there, and he won't, and it's feeding on scraps, which he has been. You know, we have to be fair to him. He has been feeding on scraps. He started one, I think it was one game, was it? And he wasn't very good then. But for the large parts of his 7 games that he has returned with us, we've been feeding balls at his neck, launching balls, long balls up to him, and he's never been that player. We haven't played to his style. We haven't suited his style. But I still 100% believe he could have offered something, which is my main frustration. It is my main frustration. So, yeah, so to sort of, to end it, I don't want to end it on a negative, because in this I feel like I have had to address a lot of negatives. Some I don't understand and I think it's rubbish. The whole Lee Johnson thing, I think it's crap. Maybe there was a part of his sacking where maybe just didn't agree with the board, but I don't think that was anywhere near as much as a player or a chess piece in his sacking, anywhere near as big as what some people make out. They just like to create a narrative. And to say he came for a payday, rubbish. He isn't that kind of person. But maybe a bit of an ego's got in his way where he just thought he's not going to score enough goals to kind of end his legacy on a high. It wasn't the one last dance that he would have hoped for, but for me it's more frustrating because not only has it left us really, really short up top when we were already short up top, but I do believe he could have offered something. 100% believe he could have offered something. I think there may have been a little bit more behind closed doors, maybe his frustration with game time and the system, which obviously doesn't suit him. But yeah, that's frustrating. But all of that aside, I've been recording for what, 11, 12 minutes now. All of that aside, we need to pay respect to the player and the man that he is. And he has been an absolutely remarkable footballer. An absolutely remarkable footballer. From his day from West Ham, Spurs, everywhere else, he's been absolutely phenomenal. He's been absolutely phenomenal. And as well, which is a big thing that not many people speak about too often, and I'm sure he has said this in interviews before, particularly around the age in which he did come into the game, and he was obviously quite a short lad. A lot of people, particularly academies, they would turn people of his height away, particularly strikers as well. And for him to break through the game, break into the game at his height and his stature, and to still bag the goals he did, it's magnificent. And that's not even getting started on his personality and the way that he is. He is an absolute elite professional through and through, 100%. And his personality with, you know, the story with Brantley Tillery, which I've covered on the channel many years ago. In fact, I think I actually shed a few tears on the channel before in the past when speaking about Brantley Tillery. But what he did was just above and beyond for Bradley, and that was a beautiful, beautiful relationship. And all that does is epitomise the man that Jermain Defoe is. And it is an absolute legend. He is. So, yes, the ranting and raving about where Sunderland are now, or the situation that's happening now, it pales in comparison to what Jermain Defoe stands for. So I won't allow, or at least I'm not going to allow myself to sit here and just say, oh, Jermain Defoe's done this, Jermain Defoe's done that, he's left in the shit. That's not going to happen, because he doesn't deserve that. He deserves the send-off he does deserve. It could have gone a different way, of course. Like I say, I believe he could have contributed a bit more. Or even if it is just a goal, like a goal or two, maybe 2 goals come the end of the season that could prove vital. I think he could offer something. But he obviously feels different. So we just have to trust the man. But yeah, so that's going to be it for me, guys. I wish Jermain Defoe a fully happy retirement, and hopefully now for the remainder of the season we do manage to see ourselves through to the playoffs, hopefully, off topic. So hopefully that is the case. But yeah, happy retirement to Jermain Defoe. Now you guys, let me know. I'm sure the comments are going to be flooded with different angles. You probably disagree with me. You might agree with me with certain things. But yeah, let me know what you think about the whole retirement of Jermain Defoe in the comments. But if you've enjoyed, please hit the like button for me. It'd be massively, massively appreciated. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already to become a fully fledged member of the Sarny Army. But for now, you take care. Stay jamming.